Hey everyone, this is Amit, and welcome to this podcast called Random Cricket Photos That Make My Guests Happy. A podcast where we are going to hear a number of special guests talk about some really special photographs from cricket, photographs that are memorable to them, that are their favorites, and that make them happy. But before we begin our episode, let me talk about one photo from my side.
The pitch today looks very good. It's a nice dry wicket.
Magnificent shot, Greg Chappell. Beautiful placement.
Jeez, what about that? Listen to the crowd now. They're into him.
He's not happy. He's not at all happy.
You would not believe that that was possible.
Should be caught, could be caught. It's
Social media has its own set of problems and flaws, and whether it's a bane or boon to the society, the jury is still out on that. But what it has done in the recent past is that it has brought to light many pictures that might not have been made public had it not been for social media. Now, one such cricket picture was posted by Ian of his 9-year-old daughter watching the proceedings from the sidelines from a 2001 match at the Lord's Cricket Ground. This was the final of the National Club Championship, and the daughter had come to watch her dad play the final while representing Bath. Things didn't go according to the plan on that day for the father-daughter duo, and Bath lost the final. Now, this was not the only disappointment for Ian at Lord's. In fact, his team made it to the final twice, and on both occasions, they ended up losing. Now, despite her dad's team's defeat that day, that little kid had dreamt of walking out to Lord's playing for England in a World Cup final. Now, that dream was realized 16 years later when Anya Shrubsole not only walked out to play the final at Lord's, but won it for her team with figures of 6 for 46 when India were cruising along in a chase of 229. She put the brakes with a spell where she gave away just 11 runs and took 5 wickets to derail India's chase and win England the World Cup. What a champion cricketer, and what a beautiful picture. Now we move to our guest for the day. Joining us from the United Kingdom for this podcast is our first female guest on the show, Annie Chave. Welcome to the podcast, Annie.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
So, among other things, Annie is the editor of the magazine County Cricket Matters, and she's one of the most vocal supporters of county cricket, which lately seems to be under a bit of threat with the advent of the 100. And she is also a cricket writer. So before we go into the picture business, Annie, I would like you to talk us through the existential crisis that county cricket, finds itself in, and also tell us why it matters so much to you and a lot of English cricket lovers.
Well, obviously, it's all been very overshadowed at the moment with the coronavirus, as many games we don't know if a season's going ahead yet at the moment. We don't know when it will start, and we don't know what it means for all the counties, every single one of 18 first-class counties. We don't know what it means in terms of finances. But coronavirus aside, I have been campaigning a little bit against the 100 because it's the 100 is basically going to be 8 counties, and it's going to be right in the middle of the summer if it goes ahead. It's going to be in July and August, which is when the children are off school and when the holidays are on, and it means for the other 10 counties no red ball cricket, no cricket for those 5-6 weeks. And as a county fan, I'm very much a county championship fan, which is the red ball first class cricket, and it's not going to happen in the height of the summer. So that is where it stands as in the crisis. But obviously we're looking at much more of a crisis at the moment. So it's all a little bit unsettling and frail anyway at the moment.
But your primary opposition to the 100 has to do with the fact that, it's just 8 out of 10 counties, or has it got something more about it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it isn't just because it's 8 out of the 10 counties. It's also it's basically all the top players from each county are being taken across all 18 counties. All 8 centres of the 100, and it's sort of changing the look of how the structure of the season goes. And what we don't know is, obviously, we don't know anything about what's going to happen when the 100 comes, but there are a lot of concerns that cricket, red ball cricket, is going to become something of the past, because people will be heading towards the white ball versions. Players will be heading towards the white ball versions of the game, because of money, because of television, because of fame. So there's a lot of concerns about what it means in terms of the future of red ball cricket, and obviously therefore Test cricket, because the county championship is the real start and the real bedding of skills in Test cricket.
Of course, without a doubt. And England's red ball cricket, apart from the series win in South Africa, it hasn't been that great lately. So I don't think it is the time when it can afford to let go of the county championship, or give it any lesser importance than it deserves. And of course,
also there's the fact that we won the One Day Cup last year in that amazing World Cup. So we're not only we won, but now we are basically saying, we don't care about the One Day Cup anymore. We're going to put that to one side, and we're going to bring in the 100 and downgrade the one day game. So it's a strange way of looking at things, and the ECB are bringing in for much needed funds, but it's a big punt basically, and at the moment that punt is looking rather dangerous, because like I said, we may not have any cricket, and we may have spent all that money. We don't know.
Besides, there are always questions on the format. I mean, we already have a shortened version of white ball cricket in T20, and then to have another version, there are questions about it, and a lot of people, including Indian skipper Virat Kohli, has asked whether it is actually necessary. So yeah, there have been a lot of scrutiny around it, and it would be interesting to see when and whether it comes up or not, and what impact it has on county cricket. But it's a given that county cricket, being the stage that has seen such iconic performances, be it Lara's 501, Graham Hicks 405, and whatnot, it deserves its place in history, and with such a rich history, it's only fair that it never loses its relevance.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've had such wonderful overseas players over here. I mean, I just look at Somerset, which is my team, and the idea that Viv Richards and Joel Garner and all that history, and how important it was to them to play for Somerset. It's just it feels like it deserves more. It deserves more fight to keep it going, and
it deserves more support from people who matter in cricket. Definitely.
And Kohli has been a fantastic supporter of Test cricket as well, which has been a real joy from someone like him. So
yeah, that's what a lot of Indian cricketers have been vehement in their support of Test cricket, despite the riches of IPLs and despite the advent of T20 cricket. When it comes to talking about the game, they always say that Test cricket is the highest form and the one where they want to prove themselves. So definitely that their heart is in the right place. And I believe other countries, other players also need to take that stand themselves, so that the boards
Yeah.
realize that red ball cricket has to be given its due importance.
Yeah, and I mean, I personally, you know how much I love the county game. I love the 4-day game. I love going along. It's a beautiful ground to go to Somerset and sort of relax and watch a slow game of cricket. I very much feel we don't need that speed in life that T20 and the 100 give us. For all cricket, I think it would be a real shame to make the beauty of cricket and its nuances and slowness and changing days and conditions. All of those things are so vital to make something such a brilliant game. It doesn't need to just be bite-sized like T20, and everything feels like it's rushing to be that way. That's what it feels like.
Now I would need you to take off the county crusader cape, because now we are entering that part of the show where the cricket lover in you has to make some tough choices, and you have to tell me and all our guests about 5 cricket photographs that make you happy, because that's what we do on this show. So which photo would be the 5th on that top 5 list?
The 5th, it would be the photo of the Chapel brothers in Southampton on the 30th of June 1975. It's by Patrick Eagar. And I've recently read his book, a book called Feeling, and is the thing that happens in 1,000th of a second. And it's about Patrick Eagar's photographs in a season of cricket. And this is 1975. And he captures the Chapel brothers going out to bat in the Ashes at Southampton on the 30th of June. And it's a fantastic photo because it's the two of them, one looking dishevelled and cool, and the other is all buttoned up and all sort of very tidy, and then you've got the crowds behind. It's just so much of its age and shows their personalities perfectly.
So true. And I find it iconic because the way you described it also, because the difference between the two brothers' personalities is so well captured. And, Ian Chappell always had that no-nonsense air about him. And you can see that in this photograph with that unbuttoned shirt down to the midriff. It captures the attitude of the elder Chappell brothers so well. And, this is one photograph. I mean, when you look at it, you would believe that, okay, this man was the one who openly challenged Don Bradman and his ideas, who is otherwise revered as the greatest cricketer and all. So Ian Chappell in this photo looks that part. And so does Greg. He is the more classical, more polished and more restrained.
It's much more classic. Yeah.
Exactly. And very interesting photograph. And, after this 20 runs later, in fact, Greg ran Ian out in this match. So a fairly iconic photograph that. And I love that choice. Great one.
Number 4 is one of a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, my son and me at a cricket ground in Devon. It's called Bridford. And what it is kind of at the end of the game, my son's been out, we're walking around the boundary, and there's long grass, the sun's going down, and we're watching cricket, and I'm leaning on him and he's talking to me, and it actually makes me feel a bit teary just looking at it, because it's everything I love about cricket. It's the warm evenings, the wandering around the boundary in the sun, watching a game unfold and having my son there, who is just the most wonderful boy or man in the whole wide world. So that is the photo of it's just taken from behind the long grass, and he's looking down at me, and he's a lot taller than me. So there, it's that one.
Beautiful, extremely beautiful that. And well, what do I say? It was so beautifully described. So how much cricket runs in your blood? I mean, I saw that photo of your niece acting as a scorer, that little kid.
Oh yeah.
And now you're telling me about this beautiful photograph. So yeah, just tell me how much cricket is played in your family.
Well, it's a good question. When my dad started playing before I was born, but we came down to live down in Devon when I was 6, and he joined the Erratics, which is my cricket club. And every weekend he would take me and my siblings, there's 4 of us, to cricket every weekend. And we all grew up playing and loving it, and then it just passed down into our children. So there you are.
It's all in the blood. It's all in the genes.
Yeah, it totally is. Cricket was just everything. Every day my brothers and I would be out in the garden playing cricket. I was always beaten hugely by my brother, who would score masses. But yeah, no, it's absolutely. And then I kind of went on to scoring, and decided that I wasn't good enough player. I'm a bit too competitive, and I wasn't good enough. So now I write about it, and I commentate for Guerilla Cricket as well. So
lovely. That's a beautiful photograph, and that's a beautiful family story of cricket. So I am guessing there are more family pictures in that list. So I'm waiting for the third one. Give me your third photograph in that list.
Okay. This one, it's a very classic one, of course. It's but it was such a summer for England. Flintoff and Brett Lee in 2005. Flintoff comforting Brett Lee after England had won the second test at Edgbaston. I mean, it was such a fantastic series, but I think I'm not alone in the amount of people that sat on the edge of their seats watching that second test unfold. England had been they'd been called a pushover in the first test, and we came out fighting with my favourite all-time player in the world, Trescothick, sort of going at it so beautifully as he could do. And England got I think it was 407 on the first day of the test match, which was just unheard of. So then Australia, I think they were sort of about 99, 100 short by the end of their innings, and then England ended up being about nearly 300 ahead when Australia went in, and they managed to get down to needing 2 runs. And then Kasvich was out, and England won by 2 runs on the 4th day, I think. So and that photo of Flintoff and Brett Lee just completely epitomises the effort from both. I mean, Brett Lee had been absolutely blasted all over by Flintoff. He'd been hit in arms, body, and then Flintoff was basically going over saying, "Sorry, mate, you really did an amazing job, but I can't believe you lost this." And it's just a fantastic photo.
Yeah, definitely. It's a beautiful photograph. And, in a series as great as that Ashes, it's difficult to have one moment as the greatest. But this photograph, such is the context and such is the beautiful gesture by Andrew Flintoff, that it stands head and shoulders above every cricketing picture from the series. So it's a fantastic choice. And there's also the story about this photo, as in this moment, that Kasparovich actually had his glove off the bat when
Yes.
he made contact with the ball. And maybe if there was a UDRS, it might not have been given out. So, well, England did get lucky out there, but who knows? But what a series. What a fantastic series. And I'm pretty sure as an English person, everyone out there must have very fond memories of the series.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, isn't it? Because there was no referral then at all, was there? And I think Peterson was plumb LBW and not given. So I think, yeah, we rode our luck on that. But that is cricket after all, isn't it? And that's why it's so wonderful.
Glorious uncertainties of the game, as they say.
Yeah. Mm.
All right, 3 photos done. Now it is the time for the second last penultimate one.
This one is from 1979. So there, that ages me. It's me and my father. I must have been about 8. And we're sat on some steps. We're at Manhattan Cricket Club in Devon. My dad's in his cricket stuff, and I am sat immediately in front of him. And we're both, what I love about this photo is we're both completely immersed in watching the cricket. And I'm absolutely captivated. I've got my mouth open. I'm kind of like, oh my God, this is amazing. And Dad is absolutely concentrating. And we're in unity together in this photo. And I think I feel it's probably wrong, but I feel like this photo starts me off on this journey of addiction to the game. And there's children behind me playing, but I'm not even vaguely interested in that. My focus is completely on what's happening in front. And I have many, many more incidences of me sat with my dad scoring with him, and but this kind of says, yeah, this is where it all began. And I love this photo.
Definitely. This is the moment of genesis, you can say. And it's a big personal favorite, I would also admit. When you put this on Twitter, I was like, okay, this picture has no cricketing action going on, but it has everything cricket written large on it. The kind of interest you people have on your faces, it shows how immersed, as you use that word, you are in the game that is going on in front of your eyes. And it's a lovely photograph. Thank you so much for, putting that up on Twitter. And I guess that's how I got to know you. And that's when I followed you, and we are here. So yeah, that's a beautiful photograph. And who took that photograph?
I don't know.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. Yeah.
That's an interesting story.
Yeah, no, it's in our collection, our family collection, but I've no idea. Dad doesn't know. We're not even 100% sure where the ground is. We think it's Manhattan, but we're not sure.
You need to trace down that
yeah, it's just one of those.
You need to express your gratitude to that person for that photograph. That's a very special
Yes.
photograph. Okay,
Yes,
then time
lovely.
to go to the top of the list. I'm pretty surprised that this wasn't number 1, but now that it is not number 1, I'm even more excited about what lies ahead. So yeah, tell me, which is that photograph?
Okay. When I had my son, who he is now 21. So when I had him, I remember thinking, God, I hope I've got a cricketer. I hope he enjoys cricket as much as we do, as a family. And what happened in my life was I had a son that is probably even more obsessed than I am. And this photo is just, I can't explain this day, because this was when he was 15. He got his first century, and it was Father's Day, and his dad was there watching, and it just felt like everything fitted into place. And I remember sort of pacing around the boundary thinking, he can't possibly get 100, can't possibly get 100. And he did. And this photo is of him coming out with all the people behind him, clapping him. And his dad shaking his hand, and the smile on his face is just so wonderful. And inside, I was just leaping around. So it has to be my favourite photograph because of the moment and how it made me feel. He's had a few centuries since, but that will always be the one that stays with me, because I started scoring it and I had to stop because I was too excited. It's not a particularly amazing photo, but it absolutely captures the moment. So that is my favourite photo.
That is perfection written all over it. With the story, I mean, you might say that it is not an amazing photo, but even when you see it, looks beautiful. And now when you have told all the emotions that you had to go through, and I can definitely, say that was one perfect moment that I believe you would love to go back over and over again, right? It's such a beautiful story behind that photograph.
Oh, well, you see, it's for the Erratics, which is my cricket team, which I'm the secretary of, and my dad is president. And my son plays, and his dad, and we just, it's just such a family event, and it just feels right that it was there and with them, and how lovely they all were and everything. So yeah, I feel a bit emotional at the moment.
Indeed, anyone would actually. So, what is the story behind the name of the club, Erratic?
The Erratics. Well,
Yes.
It's been going since 1934. I don't really know what the reason it was called the Erratics. I probably should know that. It's just always been them. So they're a university staff team, so maybe it was something to do with that.
All right, that's something that needs to be found out, because that's a fairly interesting name for a cricket club. All right.
Yes.
So that's our top 5, and this has to be the most personal of all the lists that my guests have talked about till now. And that also makes it really, really special. And that photo of yours with your dad, I'll come back to it again, because as I said, it's a big, big personal favorite of mine. And personally, because I watch a lot of cricket with my dad too. And when I first saw that photograph, it really made me very emotional. I mean, the cricketers and cricket action definitely provide that source of joy and happiness. But would it be so special even in the absence of those who we watch the game with? It made me think on those lines, and the answer was, I don't think so. So to all those listening to this podcast, do yourself a favor today. Take a cue from our guest Annie here and get a photograph clicked with people you enjoy watching the game with. Trust me, in time, that would become a way more special photograph than any other random cricket photo that makes you happy now.
No, I said no. I think you're right. I agree with you. I think it's really important to have those photos.
All right. Thank you so much, Annie. It was a beautiful, beautiful experience listening to you talk about the 5 cricket photographs. But before you go, I would also ask you, if there is any moment in the history of county cricket, because you've followed county cricket for so long and so passionately and religiously. So is there any moment in the history of county cricket that you feel hasn't been captured in a photograph very well, or in a popular photograph, that would make for a great picture looking back?
There's so many wonderful, wonderful times in county cricket. But probably I'm a very loyal Somerset fan, but I'm also an incredibly loyal Marcus Trescothick fan. And last year in June, I went to Guildford and watched him play his last ever match, which turned out to be his last ever match. And I remember sitting, watching him bat, with Morkel steaming in and bowling at him, and thinking, oh my God, there's not many places you can sit so close to such iconic players and get such a view of them playing. And I think it's a shame that much more wasn't captured of Marcus Trescothick playing that last match, because what an incredible player he has been in so many ways. And I have one tiny little photo of him batting that day, but it's not a very good photo, and it's hard to tell it is him. So I think it's a shame that wasn't captured more. That's just thinking. That's a very personal thought, because that's how much he meant as a player to me.
Can totally get that in your words. And what a wonderful cricketer he has been for England over the years, for the time that he played, and even after leaving the international stage, the kind of commitment he has shown to Somerset, it's absolutely incredible. It was a fascinating conversation. Once again, big thank you for being a guest on this podcast. It was so
Thank you for asking me.
To you, Annie. It was so lovely talking to you, Annie. And I wish you all the very best with your wonderful little project called Beautiful Grounds of 2020. For those who don't know about
Thank
it,
you.
well, Annie, would you like to tell them yourself what it is?
Yeah, I just started on January the 1st this year, putting a photo out of a beautiful cricket ground that I've been to. I'm hoping to do 366 of them. I think I'm on something like 79th today or something like that. And it's just basically putting out photos and explaining where it is. And what's been lovely about it is I've had so many people sort of responding saying, oh, I played there, or I did this, or, it's kind of connected quite a few people. And I unfortunately, I haven't been to India or very few overseas grounds. So it is mostly English grounds with the odd exception.
So it is 365 grounds in this year only, or do you have an overall number that you are chasing?
Well, I'm just doing, it's 366 because there's 366 days this year, and I'm just doing one each day. They're just from random times in history, my history, but it's got to be grounds that I've been to.
All right, that is fascinating again. Thank you so much once again, Annie, for joining us. With this, we come to the end of our very special episode with Annie Chave. Next week, once again, we are going to talk to another personality who, among other things, is a massive cricket lover. Who is that going to be? Well, you would need to wait to know that. Till then, stay happy, love cricket.